Hello, this is Valerie Aiello, and you're listening to IdeaDiary. Thanks for coming back to my office and hanging out. Alright, so today I was researching some stuff, and I just kind of fell into a rabbit hole of Mitch Lowe videos. The reason why Mitch Lowe is kind of important to me as a CEO is that he's a big idea person, and he had the idea in 1982 for a VHS vending machine that was in front of a store instead of going to actual inside a physical video store. And his vending machine VHS thing was called Videodrone, and he had the idea in 1982. And he spent $25,000 investing in it. He had machines made in Japan. He had 70 machines made. And he called it Videodroid, which is like super cute name, especially for like an 80s robot VHS machine. So the problem was that it wasn't that popular to rent from the video kiosk. At the time, it was really popular to go into a video store and spend that a half an hour looking through all the videos, and there might have been people you knew in the video store. It was like kind of like a social activity before you went home. So he ended up selling the Videodroid company. He was still a part of the Videodroid business. I'm not sure exactly what his position was, but I guess he stayed a part of the company once he sold it, because he had said in a video that he would physically work in the stores and he would talk to people renting the movies, and it just became a regular video rental store. Definitely in LA, probably surrounding cities in LA. Not exactly sure how many stores he had, but he stayed a part of the company after he sold it. So the reason why that kind of story, 1982, 84 time is important to me, he also was a co-founder of Netflix. And so in 1998, he became friends with Mark Randolph and Reed Hastings. In 1997, those two guys came up with the idea that a DVD only weighs so much, and they could mail it for the normal price of a regular, just one postage stamp. Based off of that, they got the video model. They ended up meeting Mitch Lowe somehow, and at a conference or something. Because Mitch had video store knowledge and he was kind of in the movie business, they partnered together, and he became one of the co-founder of Netflix. And they raised $103 million in a short amount of time because it was the dot-com bubble. And in 2002, Netflix became public. And about that time, let me back up a second. So Mitch Lowe was around at Netflix during the time when they offered Blockbuster $50 million to purchase them, and Blockbuster said no, which is like, Blockbuster is a whole other story. That's important to me because of how they would not be innovative when it was like so obvious the different ways they needed to be innovative. That's a side note. It was just interesting that Mitch Lowe was kind of a part of that little transaction that never happened. About 2003, McDonald's was looking into the kiosk business because McDonald's, their sales were down and they couldn't figure out exactly why. So they thought they would figure out kiosk machines, and one of the ideas was to have videos in kiosk machines, because that would not, that wouldn't be competition to selling French fries and hamburgers. And it seemed like a great idea because people would return the movie, smell the fries, come in and buy food. In May of 2002, January 2003, he ended up quitting Netflix because I guess about that time, they had a lot of friends that were paper wealthy with a lot of people were invested in a lot of internet companies, but they couldn't cash out the money. So he ended up quitting Netflix after McDonald's had come to Netflix to say, hey, do you guys want to partner up somehow? Should we figure out a business deal? And Netflix ended up saying no to McDonald's. So I think it was just, it all kind of happened at the same time. It wasn't like McDonald's pulled him away from Netflix. He decided that he was going to cash out his Netflix stock. He was going to stay on with Netflix as a consultant. So he was like an expanding consultant, like how to make Netflix keep growing and staying, forward thinking. And he decided to take a meeting with McDonald's, even though Netflix had declined to work with McDonald's. And he met the McDonald's people and he really liked them and he liked the company. And he ended up being hired as a consultant, and then he was a full-time employee. I believe he was a chief operating officer, and he later became president of REDBOX. And at the time, McDonald's owned REDBOX. And the reason why all of this is important and why I think it's a special story is because it is so rare that you have an idea and you just know it's a great idea for 20 years, but you just don't know how to implement it. And then you get the magical chance of working with the company that's working on your exact idea. And you get to be a part of building it and seeing it grow 20 years later. I'm sure he would have made billions of dollars if he would have maybe kept full ownership of the idea and tried to build his own. But the way the story happened, I feel like, is very nice. He got to use his brain on a lot of different projects. So going from Videodroid to a physical store to going to Netflix, building that, then getting a chance to building REDBOX for McDonald's, eventually make MoviePass. So I can't figure out timeline of when MoviePass happened and ended, but the MoviePass thing was he was trying to disrupt the industry again by making a MoviePass the same price as Netflix. So you could have your Netflix account to watch movies at home, or you could pay an extra $10 and get a MoviePass subscription and go to every single movie. You could go to a movie a day. You go to movies all day long if you wanted with the one $10 pass, which I do feel like was a really good idea, but I guess they implemented it too fast or something went wrong. But I feel like it wasn't a bad idea at all, especially knowing that when he was talking about REDBOX, REDBOX got sued for only charging $1 a night for their rentals, because at the time Blockbuster was charging $4 or $5 a rental, and the movie studios thought that REDBOX should not be allowed to lower the price so much because it was lowering the value of their product. I don't know exactly how all the lawsuits, how all the chips fell for that, but he did mention when he was talking about it that he was making more money renting at $1 a night, which is what the customer really wanted. He was making more money doing that than the movie studios were making just with their movies. That was an interesting aha takeaway for me. Just, you don't have to raise the price up to an unaffordable price just to make the most money possible, which I hope the vinyl industry will listen to that and adopt that, because vinyl records are too expensive and they need to make them affordable for a normal person. $37 a record is insanity. But anyways, unless it's a double vinyl and really special, okay. But just a normal record, people need more records. I don't know. I'm not even going to go off on that tangent. You know how I feel. Yeah, I'll put some links below to some of the videos I watched today, because I feel like I went to a little conference. He definitely has a lot of huge amount of takeaways in a lot of different ways. I'm sure I could watch the same videos over again and I could get something different. But two things that I really learned from him today. You are being disruptive and being innovative when people say there's no way that idea is going to work. So all of his best ideas that ended up being huge, people told him that it was not a good idea. So when he gets the feeling that everyone thinks he's insane, that's when he knows he's onto something. The other thing he talks about is that it's better to make mistakes and fix them and learn than to not take action, which is something that I really believe in. It's better to get everything out, whatever you have inside of you and your ideas and what you could do, and pivoting, trying out new ideas and doing different things. It's definitely better to go for something and figure out it's not going to work or it's not going to work now than it is to just be afraid and never know. So anyway, I guess that's the show for today. That's all I've got. Hopefully we can hang out again tomorrow. And I still don't know how to end the show, so I'm just going to play the music.